now.
Namaste, Father. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good.
Uh, I wanted to ask something which sounds strange also and contradictory also. Uh, for last few days, not last few days, but last few weeks, I would say. Uh, uh, I am experiencing the same repetitive suffering, but in the early morning phases, like before just fully waking up, like half waking kind of, so it's like about, maybe I don't know, I'm not aware of the time, but maybe half an hour or an hour or so something. So those old patterns, the attachments, the old attachments which I used to suffer, they are coming up like in those half conscious kind of states.
Yeah.
And many a times inquiry also arise in those states, and there is like an attempt to be free from them in this dream kind of dreamy like state, where you are not fully awake, but um, so it feels like many a times, mind convinces me that I am again suffering from the same things. And um, and uh, that is one point. And second is, when I am faced with the similar kind of situations which I used to suffer, right? So when those situations come, like when many a times you say when the rubber hits the road, like, so that kind of situations, I tend to, let's say, let use the word forget, I tend to forget the my original self. And again, I go into those old patterns of thinking and feeling, those kind of, means that old pattern of suffering, let's say, in total. So uh, maybe I want to ask a practical solution, but you just, I'm using the words because I know you would say there's nothing like practical. So uh, it's not that I am not clear about the truth or reality. I have that clarity, but sometimes along with that clarity there is suffering. Both are present simultaneously. Many a times that also happens. So I just wanted, if you can say something about this.
Actually, the early morning thing is something that I used to notice often as well in the so-called spiritual journey here as well. That the mind seems to grab us first thing in the morning, no, and we are half asleep, just and there are many in the sangha like this. There's one sangha member who gets a serious anxiety thing early in the morning. Like, I'll wake up in the morning and I'll see some 20 messages from them at 4 a.m., at 5 a.m. Coming, because that's what happens. The mind uses that opportunity before we are fully, you see, awake in that way, to really sell us the story that it has. So it's good. You spotted it. It's good to notice that's what it attempts to do. You see, and your noticing it itself is, of course, very helpful, because then next morning again you say, this is the mind's play. You see, it's morning time, I'm just getting out of bed, and this is what it's doing. And it may seem to grab us at this time, quite often. But the good thing is, and you're aware of this, is that the minute you come to your emptiness, the instant you come to your openness, or clarity as you call it, you see, so the coexistence of clarity and suffering is only when you make yourself linear, no? When you make yourself have a history of past, present, and future. But in that moment of clarity, all past, all this apparent suffering is gone, isn't it? Is it? Can you contain
Like
the identification which you had 10 minutes ago? You see, just organically in this moment right now.
no, definitely not. Uh,
See, I can
but
sense a
many
but.
times,
So let me try and answer again more completely. Then the only way to represent or make that kind of report that I am both clear and suffering is to stretch yourself out in linear time and say in the morning time this is my state, in the afternoon this is my state, in the evening this is my state. You see, then this is what happens. So we stretch ourselves out in that way, but that is the story of the mythical one. That is not the story of your reality. It is the story of your mind's reports about what your state is. So the instant you come to clarity means that instant you have left this universe of time and space. You see? And left means that you're no longer identifying with just an object within that time and space. You're looking at the entirety of this play of time and space as just an aspect of your existence. You see? So if you don't make that limited reference to yourself objectively, then this seeming idea of being completely clear and yet suffering at the same time, although it sounds very beautiful and zen to me as well, but the point is that that is not really our discovery, isn't it? Because now you're out of this, then the notion of suffering means that you're constricted. You see, as you let go of the notion of being objective in time and space, then the idea of suffering needs that initial objective idea first, isn't it?
correct. Hmm. What I meant by that, father, was like there is suffering in the foreground, and yet at the same time there is peace, peace or clarity in the background. So in that way, I meant that both are coexistent. So it's like
So let's break it down.
some of my remnants.
Can we break it down a bit more so that we are on the same page? So let's
Yes.
look at appearance. An appearance is not suffering. An appearance at best we can call pain, isn't it? Identification with that appearance is called suffering. You see, that it is happening to me, that this should not be what it is for me. That is called suffering. So appearances can be, you see, suffering is identifying with that. You see, and clarity is not identifying with that. And as we don't identify with that, we see that I am that substratum on top of which all of this play of appearances seems to play out. You see, so what I will admit is that in the non-identification also, any appearance can come. You see, but to make them into suffering, you have to use your head a lot. You see, you cannot suffering is not something organic that happens in the realm of appearances. You see, suffering needs a lot of mental work. Like pain can appear in existence, but to suffer you have to think about it. You see, and when you think about it, you see, that is what we call the absence of clarity anyway. You see, not that the reality of this goes away in any way, but we take that cloud of dust to be our real nature, and it seems like we forget our reality. You see, so if you are speaking about appearances appearing, and they can appear, but we are talking about the absence of using conceptual thought to really represent them, then it is no longer, it is not suffering yet. You see, the minute you start applying yourself mentally to it, only that is suffering. You see, and in that representation, when we buy into that identification, then it seems like the truth of what we are. It's no longer seems like it's always in the background and things that can just be a part of the representation again. So it seems to be forgotten, isn't it? That is suffering.
No, I would say, Father, it's not completely forgotten, but
Okay.
some sticky remnants of I that I used to take myself, those sticky remnants, which are they are seen in the foreground, and which cause this suffering. And yet I am not completely lost, you know. So
Absolutely.
that kind of thing.
I feel like we're coming to the same page. So good. I have no disagreement with that. That sounds okay. Now, what is the antidote, right? What is the antidote to this? Now, suppose a patient comes to you and they say that I have uh, malaria or something like that. Give me the one pill that will sort it out finally. You see, and you will say, no, there isn't such a pill. You see, I will prescribe a plan for you. You see, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner have this pill. Along with that, that is the best that you can do. So the mind says, give me an antidote which is like forever. I want to be rid of it. Like give me. You see, but the only antidote is that breakfast, lunch, and dinner you remain empty. You see? Remain empty. So so sometimes you'll forget the dose, and what will the doctor say? Okay, you forgot it. Now forget about the fact that you forgot it. Continue your dose properly now. You see, isn't it? The doctor will also say you can't go back into the past and change that. What can we do? You see, take your dose now. You see, then the patient will say, but oh, I keep forgetting it. You see, I keep forgetting it. You see, and the doctor will say, okay, you keep forgetting it. There's nothing we can do about that. You remember now. Do it now.
It's the whole satsang conversation again and again.
It's okay. It's okay. You see? So it's good in a way. It's good in a way because it doesn't allow us to become arrogant. You see, it can feel like, um, uh, but I got it, and oh, it's back again. You see, but that got it guy can also be just a spiritual ego. So it's good for it to be, it's good for it to be dissolved in this way. Because many who are coming to satsang are having this experience of beautiful insight, and then they see, the mind comes back, and they're not suffering so much from the mind coming back, but they're suffering so much from the notion that I was meant to be free of this by now. You see, how could it come back? So they're suffering more from the concept that they should not be suffering anymore than from the organic notions which the mind is giving them. You see, so it's a one-two punch. You see, from the mind.
Yes, yes,
It's
that's exactly what I am asking for, Father. Like, I want to be completely free from this suffering. That's what I am asking.
yeah.
And perhaps that is what causing more suffering. It's
That's it. That's it. You spotted it yourself. You see. The one that wants to be completely free from suffering is the voice of suffering itself. And it will say, but I was there 3 weeks ago. You see, I don't want to come back to this. And it's a thief, you see. It's saying all of these things. It itself is causing the trouble and saying that I want to be free from the trouble. In clarity, did you find that there was such a me who was the sufferer, but now there's a me left who is now free from suffering? Was that your discovery?
no, no, Father.
You saw
It
that.
cannot happen simultaneously.
You saw that
It's
me.
all or none. Like, if you are on this side or on that side.
But that's a good point, and that's very valid. But I'm also saying that it is not as if there was a sufferer that now became free from its suffering. You see, it was just seen in that which we call clarity that the notion of the sufferer itself was fraudulent and can be let go of. You see, so when we pick up the idea that I want to be completely free of my suffering, it is the pose of the sufferer which is completely non-existent, because you know very well that if I ask you who is that I, you will in a moment see that there isn't such a one.
Yes, Father. That's true, and it is also seen many a times here. But that is perhaps the toughest part here. What I feel, to let go of that suffering identity. And many a times I see that although it says I want to be free from the suffering, it itself wants the suffering. Many a times it feels like that. It doesn't want to leave that suffering, and also it's saying I want to be free from the suffering. It's like that catch 22, what we say.
Yeah.
So that's also many
Dog
times it's
chasing its own
spotted.
tail. You see, the dog chasing its own tail and going
True,
round and
true.
round. So take the dose now. That's all we can do. Take a full 100 mg of emptiness. It'll resist. You see,
And
the mind resists the
and
simplicity
Father,
of the instruction, because what happens is the mind will use all the linear story about how there was a time where it was all clear, and then you don't want to go back to a time where it was all blurry and all of that. But all I'm saying is take the 100 mg of emptiness. You see?